Today we're going to attack the interesting topic we mentioned a little bit in my Boston video. So we're going to talk about where dentists make the most money. So this is interesting. A lot of dentists compare how much they make, and I find it funny that the cost of living was never included and discussed, and it makes a really big difference, as we'll see in this video. Welcome, I'm your dentist and content creator, Kevin Dental. So we're gonna start with two places. These are kind of your typical job search websites with Indeed, and the second one is ZipRecruiter. You can see here, it tries to answer the questions through their own data, their own job listings, how much dentists make. And in this infographic, the blue ones are the ones that supposedly make the most money, and the states in pink are the ones that supposedly on average make less money. So this is all their given data. Each site has their own results. You can see that the states that we associate with higher income, like California and Texas and Washington, do come true, but New York coming in low in this particular job search. Now, if you look at another website, instead of the reds and blues, they focus more on just blues and how dark they are. So the darker the state, the more income there is in that particular state. So New York, in this case, becomes higher. So let me go back here. You can see that it's pink in this particular graph. You can see that each website has their own sort of data, and it can be different. So this is just one sort of way to visualize how much dentists make in each state. This does not factor in cost of living. And you'll see in a moment, it really changes quite a bit. Just kind of take a look at these two graphs, different websites. You can see they tend to put California high, South Carolina, Louisiana, maybe. Let's see if it mirrors here. And this is California, South Carolina. So there are differences. But you'll see in a moment that if you factor in cost of living, it is a big difference. So that's with job searches. They have their own data. Let's look at something a little bit more reliable, and that's from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. So what they do basically is it's part of the United States government, and if you want to look at their Wikipedia page, they're part of the United States Department of Labor. They are the principal fact-finding agency for the U.S. government. The BLS is a governmental statistical agency that collects, processes, analyzes, disseminates essential statistical data to the American public, to Congress, federal agencies, state, local, business, and labor representatives. So they're fact-finding. I would trust more of these statistics relative to those job searches websites. And you can see that in their particular view, in 2020 median, not mean, so not average, it's $164,000 per year, and it comes out around like $79 per hour. And it does list some general information. So very interesting statistic. And this is the sort of data that the ADA, as we'll see in a moment, uses as well. So if you look at their website and click on some more information, you can see there's more graphics here to take a look at. Here's employment of dentists, so the number of dentists per state. The darker the number, the higher number of dentists there are. Now, another sort of way to list it is to compare the amount of people that are dentists in a given state relative to the amount of people that are in dentistry in the nation. So that's what location quotient of dentists is. You can see the definition here. The location quotient is the ratio of the area concentration of occupational employment to the national average concentration. So if you have a number that's greater than 1, that means a higher share of employment than the national average. And if you have a number less than 1, that means the occupation is less prevalent in the state compared to the nation in this particular case. So that's one way to measure the amount of dentists per state. And you can see that the highest density ones are Washington, Wyoming, Utah, Vermont, in this infographic. Here's the mean of average wage, and this does not include the cost of living. So you can see that the darker the number, the more income. So Massachusetts will be high, Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maine, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Vermont. Really, if you factor in the cost of living, the interesting thing is the state that's greatly affected the most, which corresponds to my last video or a few videos ago, is Massachusetts. So we'll see that in a moment. Here's another graphic of employment by area, and we'll scroll down more about the location, quotient, and here's another graphic of the mean wage of dentists. You can see that Massachusetts, it's high. The rest, actually, if you do factor in the cost of living, that actually corresponds to higher income still. So that's the next graphic here. I think it's going to be super useful. Before we get there, the average income listed by the ADA is higher. Here it is 2019, so they do use the information from the BLS, so I'm not sure the difference. I think in this case, this is the average, while the numbers here is they're the mean. Let's find it right here. 164, that's the median, not the mean. So here's the average, 204,000, specialists 343,000. And here is the graphic I think really explains well where dentist makes the most money. So when you look at the chart earlier, you have Massachusetts, for example, that's has the highest wages. But if you factor in cost of living in some of these states, it becomes one of the lowest. In Massachusetts, it's kind of the poster child of this, and that's why it was a major con to live in Boston as a dentist. So as far as places with the highest income for general dentists, if you adjust for the cost of living, it's North Carolina, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota. Now, these are older statistics based in 2018, but it kind of gives you a general idea the significant difference if you look at the cost of living. So if we review, this is what ZipRecruiter Indeed shows us. This is Indeed. This is ZipRecruiter. You can see how the states, as far as highest income, if you factor in cost of living, becomes different. And Massachusetts is just a poster child of this. It goes from the highest, one of the highest, to one of the lowest if you factor in the cost of living. So this is the main point of this video, is you really look at the cost of living. So you really can't say, oh, this dentist makes this much, that means they're doing great, and then this dentist make this much and they're not doing great. It really depends on a lot of factors, and one of the biggest ones are the location where the practice exists. So if you do want to compare two offices, definitely use cost of living as a broad comparison. If you don't, it makes a big difference, and Massachusetts is a great example of that. If you're looking for more updated information, you can download the Excel spreadsheets from BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Here in this particular spreadsheet, you can kind of list in the density of dentists compared to other states, other employment by state compared to dentist employment compared to other employment nationwide. And you can see that statistically, Wyoming, Hawaii, Vermont, Washington, Utah, Virginia, and Florida, Oregon have a lot of dentists compared to other industries, compared to the national average. That's the location quotient that we spoke of earlier. And then you have another more updated equivalent to the graphic that we showed earlier about the average annual income. In this case, let's see if it includes cost of living. It does not, but it does kind of give you some general information on the average annual income here. And keep in mind, this does not factor cost of living, and that's why Massachusetts is still one of the higher ones instead of one of the lower ones. But still very interesting data here. You can look this up in the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You can look it up at the American Dental Association website if you are a provider. So the main thing, and I'll say the most important chart, will be this one. Cost of living makes a difference. And it's not the only indicator to compare two locations and two offices. You could have a location, for instance, that requires, because of the competition, for providers to work longer hours, maybe on Saturdays. And maybe the production and income's the same, maybe even the cost of living is the same, but if you have to work 6 days instead of 5 days, then obviously you it's preferable to be in an area where you could potentially work less days and make just as much. So that comes to quality of life. So this is just to say that cost of living makes a difference compared to income, but it's not the only factor. You want to look at other things that's preferable to your preferences and preferable to life, and not just money. There's healthcare, there's education, economy, infrastructure, opportunity, fiscal stability, crime, the environment, and things like that. This is just one website that showcases the quality of life in their metrics. The darker the blue are the states that are supposedly have higher quality of life. In this case, Massachusetts is high. You'll see in multiple websites in their methodology that Massachusetts ends up being one of the top states. So even though the cost of living is high, and if you then adjust the cost of living to income, it's lower than other states, hey, it might still be worth it because of the quality of life. And that would explain in the benefits of living in Boston a few videos back. Another website that's similar is US News and World Report. They have similar sort of rankings, and this just goes to show there's other things besides cost of living, besides income. Take a look at maybe in some states there's less competition, and you might only have to work 3 or 4 days to make the same amount of income, and maybe they have some other benefits in the locations, as in healthcare, education, economy, and those sort of things. So just a quick video. The main conclusion here is that the income is greatly influenced by the cost of living. So don't just compare the income between two practices. Look at the locations, cost of living. In the end, it might not even matter as far as the amount of income. Maybe it's really the quality of life, the work-life balance. So in the end, it's really not worth comparing yourself to others. And the best thing is, if you're happy, that's the most important part, and they'll be happy with your numbers of your practice no matter what. Thanks for watching. Just a reminder to check out InvestStream. There's a lot of information on my socials, on my website about InvestStream. But as a quick summary, this is a platform that started from my own passion as far as investments. 2020 has been an amazing year in the stock market. It has been an amazing year for 2021 so far. So basically, I created this first for myself, and I thought this could be a unique platform for dentists, given that I am a dentist myself. I always thought it was intimidating and confusing to learn the stock market and investing from people in their suits, in the investment community, in the traditional manner, like on CNBC. So this is meant for dentists in a way, and digested for dentists, especially when we know that dentists are very busy. So there are two parts to InvestStream. This is the first year with InvestStream Strategy. Investment Strategy is a week-to-week educational platform where I go through my research along the week. We talk about what happened in the weeks before. We talk about what is happening in the potential week ahead. We look at the technical analysis, we'll look at the macro news, we'll look at potential stock picks that I recommend for the given situation. And this is all meant to optimize the current unique situation following the pandemic. So this is the focus for 2021, is investment strategy, but in the future, check out investment course as well. This is an educational platform to focus more on the foundational aspects of investing, and also we'll go through the advanced aspects of investing as well, but that will be released later this year. Please check out InvestStream.